Welcome back to the vault, guys. Today we got another rare JDM classic for you. We got an R33 GTST Skyline. So this thing is packed with an RB25. This one actually has a built automatic transmission. The customer has done a little bit of upgrading for this to kind of be like a drag setup. We got a couple carbon fiber bits, we got a single turbo, and we got a nice sheet metal intake manifold in this one. Right now it's not running very healthy, so we're gonna go through it and make sure that it's fully healthy and makes all the power that it possibly can. We're gonna dress it up a little bit, and then she should be back on the road, but we'll see where this goes. First, we got to R&D, remove and diagnose. Okay guys, so now that we're under the hood, we can see that we have this single turbo set up. We have that sheet metal intake manifold over there, Greddy boost gauge, a couple nice parts in here. But again, this car came in with a couple exhaust leaks. It sounded really bad, almost like it was knocking. It's got a really bad misfire, so we got to remove all this stuff, and we really got to diagnose what's wrong with this engine and why it's not running the way it should. So we're going to do a compression test and a leak down test first. We're not even going to try to start this. We don't want to cause any more damage. So first we're gonna just make sure that this thing makes the proper compression that it needs to, and then it's not leaking anything out of its compression chamber. So first things first, we gotta remove all of our coil packs and all of our spark plugs. We're gonna check over all the conditions of those, and then we'll throw the tester on here and we'll see what our numbers give us. All right guys, so the first thing we're gonna look at here is going to be our coil packs and spark plugs. Now when diagnosing like a regular misfire or anything like that, this is gonna be where you're gonna start. Something that you're always going to want to check is your wiring and your connectors to make sure those aren't damaged. Now clearly here I could already see that we've had some broken connectors, and these wires are just kind of pushed into these aftermarket coil packs. So that might be something we have to address, but we're going to take everything out right now and just start with the basics. So let's get that. So now we're going to take all of our spark plugs out. We're going to inspect each one for its gap and see its color. If it's misfiring solid, it'll be more of a black color. If it's firing well, it should be like a whitish, grayish color. So we're going to check all that out. We're also going to check the torque of any of these, see if maybe any of them may have been loose. So as I took the spark plugs out, I numbered each one so that I could be sure on which cylinder I'm diagnosing. So I have the spark plug holder and I have them all in here. It looks like the gaps are pretty even, but it does look like I might have a misfire on 2 and 4. So I can tell that they look a little more wet, a little bit more rich. And all in all, it kind of looks like this engine was running a little bit more rich. I don't know if that's maybe because of the issues that it had. But now we're going to look into the cylinders. We're going to see if we see any visual damage, and then we're going to continue on to our testing. So these are the tools that I'm going to be using to properly diagnose this. I have a compression tester here, and this is going to test our compression in each cylinder as it rotates through a couple cycles, basically how much it's making while it's running. This is a cylinder leak down tester. This is only going to test the leak down inside of our compression chamber. Our compression chamber is when the piston is at full top dead center and the exhaust valves and the intake valves are fully closed. So we're going to be able to see if we have any leaks in the piston rings, in the head gasket, in any of the valves, if it's coming out of intake or exhaust or anything like that. These are really handy tools, and you definitely need them handy when you're trying to do this kind of diagnosis work. So now I have my remote starter button installed. This is going to supply power straight to the starter so we don't have to have any other draws on. Just crank it right over. So now we're going to install our compression tester and get going. Alright guys, so we've made it to cylinder 3 on here, and I think I've discovered an issue. I already went through this and reinstalled it to make sure I didn't have any leaks on here, but I think I have a low cylinder. So I'm just going to walk you through this process a little bit to show you how we do it. I'm going to rotate the engine over about 10 times, or basically until this stops rising as it keeps going. So we're going to see where it comes up to this time. So last time it stopped at 98. It's a little over 100 right now. So, and I turned it over, I think, a little more than I usually do. So we're gonna read this one out. 110. And then on to the next. Okay, so now I moved on to cylinder 4, and this is a healthy cylinder, and this is something I'd like to show you guys as well. Now this is making compression much sooner in the first 2 or 3 strokes, and it's just spiking all the way to 150 and resting at about 145. So we can see right now it's sitting at 140, but just a second ago I let it go a couple more times and it went up to 145. So I think this is a healthy cylinder, and I think unfortunately cylinder 3 is looking a little low. So we'll find out more when we do the leak down test and see if we can't diagnose it from there. This is our leak down tester here. This is going to be a little bit more of a process to actually test this, because I'm going to have to rotate the engine by hand to get it to top dead center perfectly where I need it. So first I have to remove this clutch fan. So I went ahead and I made sure that this cylinder was on the compression stroke. I have it all the way up at top dead center now. I used my trusty dusty long screwdriver to be my gauge to tell me when it was exactly at top dead. So now we're gonna feed some air into this and we're gonna see exactly what our percentage of leak down is. So here we have our cylinder leak down test, and now that that is at full top dead center and we just have the compression chamber at the top, I'm slowly gonna feed air. This is a pressure regulator. We're slowly gonna feed air in, and then we're gonna watch our numbers go up. Now we have to fill the cylinder with enough pressure to ignite, so somewhere around where it's gonna be, so at least 100 PSI. So we're gonna crank this all the way up and see how it goes, and here we can see we have less than 20% leak. And we're at 100% with 100% no leak. So we know that cylinder 1 is good. Okay, so now that we found an issue in this cylinder, we can continuously add air and then we can kind of listen for our leaks. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start filling a little bit of air and I'm gonna listen around. Now I've already listened around a little bit and I heard a little bit of air, and now I feel air actually coming out of the oil cap. So it's definitely going past either the piston rings or the head gasket into an oil galley or something like that. So this is definitely gonna have to be removed to see what kind of damage has really gone on inside this engine. So thus far, I've found cylinder number 3 to have 110 PSI of compression and about a 73% leak down. So with these numbers, I can pretty much tell that this isn't low enough for there to be a serious piston damage or piston ring issue, and this is high enough for me to believe that there's either a head gasket leak or a valve issue or something like that. So we're definitely gonna have to tear this thing down and see if there's any more damage. So catch us on the next episode when we're tearing all that down. Again, let us know what you guys think about all this video. I hope that this process taught you a little something. Maybe you learned a little bit. And yeah, have a great day.